All right, so we're diving into Fearless Growth by MAB.
Okay.
And, we all want to unlock our potential, right? And this book kind of lays out a roadmap to get us there. So
Mhm.
we're going to be talking about overcoming obstacles, embracing change, and finding that sense of purpose.
Sounds good.
I was just looking at the chapters. Some of these titles really jumped out at me, like Understanding Fear, the Invisible Barrier.
Yeah.
Like, who wouldn't want to break through that, right? And then Living Fearlessly, a Life of Purpose and Fulfillment.
Right.
Pretty compelling stuff.
It is. And one thing I noticed right away is how the book tackles fear head on.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't like shy away from it at all.
Interesting.
Actually, the book argues that, all those modern anxieties we have, the ones that really hold us back,
Yeah.
it's like fear is just morphed into something less helpful.
That's a good point because I think we often try to just ignore fear or suppress it.
Right, exactly.
But this book, Fearless Growth, it's saying we need to shine a light on it. It's like fear is this invisible wall we keep bumping into,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
but we can't figure out how to get around it until we actually see it's there.
And that's where the whole growth mindset idea comes in.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
The book really emphasizes it, though.
Uh-huh.
Like, it's crucial for breaking through that fear barrier.
Okay, so how do we actually do that?
Well, it's about shifting your thinking,
Yeah.
Instead of thinking, I'm just bad at this, you start thinking, I haven't mastered this yet.
Okay.
It's subtle, but it opens up the possibility for growth.
I've tried to adopt a growth mindset, but honestly, it's hard.
Oh, for sure.
It's one thing to understand it, but to actually live it.
It's tough.
Yeah. I liked how the book gave like 4 actions to actually cultivate a growth mindset.
Yeah, it's not just about like positive thinking.
Yeah.
The book gets specific, like you need to embrace challenges head on.
Okay.
See, failures as learning moments focus more on your effort than just the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And constantly seek feedback. Those become habits that really reinforce the growth mindset.
So it's a practice.
Totally.
Okay, but here's what I'm struggling with. If challenges are good for growth,
Yeah.
how do we know how much is too much? Like, where's the line between a healthy challenge and just overwhelming ourselves?
That's such a good question, and it makes me think about the part of the book that focuses on resilience,
Oh, okay.
which is really all about navigating those challenges without completely falling apart.
Right, because you're going to hit bumps in the road.
Exactly.
So what does the book say about resilience?
It defines it as the ability to bounce back and adapt, which honestly feels so important these days.
Totally. It's like having shock absorbers for life.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So how do we build that resilience? Does the book give any practical advice?
It does actually. Fearless Growth lays out these 5 interconnected pillars of resilience.
5. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so you need self-awareness to understand your reactions, adaptability to adjust to change, strong support systems to lean on, a sense of purpose to keep you moving forward, and a healthy dose of optimism to keep you going.
That makes sense. I'm seeing how those all connect.
It's all intertwined.
Yeah, I'm also curious about the book's take on self-belief.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like you could have all those things you just mentioned,
Mhm.
but without believing in yourself, you'd still struggle.
Absolutely, self-belief is huge.
So how does the book approach that?
It describes self-belief as the fuel for everything. Motivation, creativity, even resilience.
Wow.
Like it's all connected. The more you believe in yourself, the more likely you are to take risks, to persevere through challenges, and ultimately to reach those goals.
So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
In a way, yeah, but self-belief can be tricky, right?
Totally. You can't just decide to believe in yourself and poof, it happens.
Exactly. And Fearless Growth offers some pretty concrete strategies for building that self-belief.
Okay. All ears.
One thing it emphasizes is challenging those limiting beliefs we all have.
Oh, I know those well.
You know those negative thoughts that tell you you're not good enough?
Ugh, yeah, all the time.
It's about actively replacing those with more empowering thoughts.
So how do we do that? Do we just tell them to go away?
It's more about consciously replacing them.
Okay.
Like actively swapping those negative thoughts for ones that are more positive and empowering.
So it's not just like thought stopping, it's about actually replacing them.
Yeah, exactly. And the book also talks about celebrating small wins.
Oh, I like that.
It's so easy to get caught up in the big picture and miss those little victories.
Right.
But acknowledging them, it's like giving yourself a little boost of confidence.
That's like, hey, I did that. Maybe I am capable of more.
Right. And another tool the book highlights is visualization.
Oh, interesting.
It might sound a little woo-woo,
Uh-huh, yeah.
but picturing yourself succeeding can actually train your mind to believe it's possible.
I can see that.
Like, think about athletes visualizing their perfect race, or musicians mentally rehearsing a difficult piece.
It's like creating a mental blueprint for success.
Yeah.
But what about self-sabotage? Like, what if you visualize it perfectly, but then you never actually take action?
That's where the people around us come in.
Okay.
Fearless growth talks about surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you,
Yeah.
people who believe in you even when you don't.
Having that support system is so crucial.
It really is. It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner,
I can love that.
reminding you what you're capable of. And speaking of support systems, the book also talks about connection,
Uh-huh.
especially when you're facing challenges.
Because we're not meant to go through this alone, right?
Exactly. We need each other. And fearless growth reminds us to reach out to those we trust,
Yeah.
whether as a mentor, a friend,
Yeah.
or even a therapist.
Sometimes you just need someone to listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes. And, just as we seek support,
Yeah.
the book also encourages us to offer it to others.
Oh, that's a good point.
Being that source of encouragement for someone else, it can actually strengthen our own belief in the process.
It's like a cycle of support.
Exactly.
So we've talked about building self-belief and finding support.
Right.
But what about those moments when fear or doubt just paralyzes us?
It happens to all of us.
How do we push through that?
Well, the book reminds us that action is the best antidote to fear.
Oh, that's interesting.
It might sound counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but taking even a small step forward can break that paralysis.
It's about doing something, anything.
Yeah, it's about shifting from overthinking to doing. And the book makes this really insightful distinction.
Okay.
Motivation might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you going.
I like that.
It's about building those habits and routines that support your goals,
Right.
even when you don't feel like it.
So it's about creating a system.
Exactly, whether it's a daily writing practice, a regular workout routine,
Yeah.
or even just committing to spending 15 minutes a day learning something new.
It's about consistency.
Totally. And don't forget to celebrate those milestones along the way.
Oh, yeah. Celebrating is important.
It keeps you motivated and reminds you that you're making progress.
So we need to create a system for ourselves, find support, and take action.
That's a great summary. And remember, fearless growth isn't about quick fixes.
Right.
It's about embracing the journey itself.
With all its ups and downs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And recognizing that growth is a process.
Not a destination.
Right.
So we've covered a lot of ground with fearless growth, confronting fears, embracing change.
Yeah, we've really dug deep.
But now I'm curious about the practical side.
Okay.
How do we actually put all of this into action?
That's where I think the book really shines.
Okay.
It doesn't just give us theory. It actually gives us tools.
Okay, cool.
Tools to apply all this stuff to real life.
So it's like, okay, we get it, but how do we actually do it?
Exactly.
And one thing that keeps coming up for me is self-belief.
Yeah, that's a big one.
We've talked about it conceptually,
Right?
but I need tangible steps.
Okay.
Like, how do we actually build that self-belief?
Well, the book breaks it down into some really manageable steps.
Right.
And the first one is tackling those limiting beliefs head on.
Oh, yeah, those negative thoughts.
Exactly. The ones that say, you're not good enough, or you'll never achieve that.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
And it's about actively replacing those with statements that are more positive and empowering.
Okay, so it's like pulling weeds in a garden.
I like that analogy.
You got to get rid of the bad stuff to make room for the good stuff.
Exactly.
But those weeds come back.
They do, and that's where celebrating those small wins comes in.
I like that.
It's so easy to get caught up in the big picture and miss those little victories along the way.
Yeah, you're so focused on the end goal, you forget to celebrate the small stuff.
Exactly, and acknowledging those small wins. It's like giving yourself a dose of confidence fertilizer.
Uh-huh. Confidence fertilizer. I love it.
You got to feed that belief.
It's like, hey, I did that. Maybe I'm capable of more.
Exactly.
Okay, what else does the book say?
Another tool the book highlights is visualization.
Oh, visualization. I've heard of that.
It might sound a little woo-woo,
Yeah, kind of.
but picturing yourself succeeding can actually train your mind to believe it's possible.
Interesting.
Like, think about athletes visualizing their perfect race, or musicians mentally rehearsing a difficult piece.
Yeah, it's like creating a mental blueprint.
Exactly.
A blueprint for success.
Yeah, but I could see how self-sabotage could creep in.
Oh, totally. Like, what if you visualize perfectly and then never take action?
That's where the people around us come in.
Oh, okay, support system.
Fearless growth talks about surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you.
That makes sense. You need people who believe in you.
Exactly. People who believe in you even when you don't.
It's like curating your environment.
Yeah. Create a space that supports your growth.
And speaking of support systems, the book also talks about connection.
Right, especially when you're facing challenges.
Because we're not meant to do this alone.
Exactly. We need each other. Fearless growth reminds us to reach out to those we trust,
For sure.
whether as a mentor, a friend,
Yeah.
even a therapist.
Sometimes you just need someone to listen.
Absolutely. Just having someone to hear you out can make a huge difference.
And I like how the book points out that just as we seek support,
Yeah.
we should offer it to others,
It goes both ways.
being that source of encouragement for someone else.
It actually strengthens our own belief in the process.
It's a cycle.
A beautiful cycle of mutual support.
Okay, so we've talked about building self-belief and finding support.
Mm-hmm.
But what about those moments when fear or doubt just paralyzes you?
It happens. We've all been there.
What does fearless growth say about pushing through that?
The book reminds us that action is the best antidote to fear.
Really?
It might sound counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but taking even a small step forward can break that paralysis.
So it's about doing something.
Exactly. Even if it's a tiny step, just shift from overthinking to doing. And the book makes this really insightful distinction.
Okay.
Motivation might get you started,
Right. You're all excited.
but discipline is what keeps you going.
That's so true.
It's about building those habits and routines that support your goals even when you don't feel like it.
Like creating a system.
Exactly. Whether it's a daily writing practice, a regular workout routine,
Yeah, whatever works for you.
or even just committing to spending 15 minutes a day learning something new.
It's about consistency.
Totally. And don't forget to celebrate those milestones along the way.
Celebrating is key.
It keeps you motivated, reminds you that you're making progress.
So find a system, find support, and take action.
Yeah, those are the big takeaways.
This has been such a great deep dive.
It has.
I feel like we've uncovered a framework for not just achieving goals, but for living a more fulfilling life.
I agree. It's not just about checking things off a list.
Right, it's about growth as a whole.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Likewise.
And I hope our listener feels empowered to start their own fearless growth journey.
Yes, you have the strength and resilience within you to do amazing things.
Don't forget that.
Start small, stay consistent, and never stop believing in yourself.
The world is waiting for what you have to offer.
Now go out there and grow fearlessly.